Hi there, this is Joe from ShopTo, and I'm joined by Dan,
Hello.
and this is a review for EDF.
Yes, Earth Defense Force 2 Invaders from Planet Space.
And is this the Vita
Yes.
one, or is
This is the
this
Vita version. It's
this is
coming
the
out.
Vita one?
A long running series. I mean, these games have been knocking around for quite some time. Pretty sure I played one back on the PlayStation 2 days. Um, Budget kind of sums it up, but in a good way. You think of all the classic B movies that came out sort of 50s, 60s, and even the 70s. Real low budget, but they still managed to knock out a good few laughs. Some shocking special effects, but you don't care. You just want to get the thrills, the spills, and then the action. And this game really pays off. Um, it's the handheld version of Defense Force 2 that I think came out on the PlayStation 2. Basically, what's happened is Earth has been invaded by Martians. You play a soldier in the Earth Defense Force, or the EDF, as many of your troops around you will chant constantly. The initial wave is just giant bugs. So you have giant spiders, ants. I think there's some flying ones in there. They eventually then turn into flying saucers. Then you get giant mechs as well. And your goal, basically, across the 80 odd missions, is to shoot everything that moves.
Yeah, I kind of remember playing an EDF. I don't know, it might have been PlayStation 3, and it's just kind of like these big open environments, but at
Yeah,
the same time, they feel a bit empty, and everything just feels a bit B movie ish.
which is great. Not every game has to be AAA trying to rival Hollywood.
Yeah.
Sometimes a game of just I wouldn't call it a low standard because the standard of the game is quite high. It just doesn't look like the sort of game you expect to plug into your Vita. That said, the amount of action going on in the game, the Vita doesn't even stutter once, and that's a fantastic achievement. You can have hundreds of bugs crawling across fields coming towards you or through cityscapes. You're blowing up buildings left, right, and centre. You've got your soldiers charging around you. You're there with your soldier popping away at him one at a time. The game deals with it, and that's quite an impressive feat for a little handheld. Um,
Is it quite a big game? Is it?
It is, I say, there's about 80 odd missions. I think it's a few more than that. There's also co op as well, which you can play online. I couldn't get it to work, unfortunately, just because the game's not out yet. You sometimes get that problem.
Yeah.
But my experience with this on previous consoles is it's going to be a good laugh. There are three characters to choose from. Uh, Divert my eyes, I can't remember the names. You've got the infantry. This guy is just your basic rifles and rockets. You can carry two weapons at a time, so you can flip between each one. Then you have the pale wing. These are the ability to hover and fly around the skies and use like laser-based weapons. And then thirdly, you have an air raider. Now, playing single player, this guy doesn't quite work because he's more of a support character. Um, Calls in heavy guns, artillery, things like that. So if you're playing online, that's a good character to play with as a group because that way he can stand back, you can spot enemies, you can hurl in some serious firepower whilst your teammates charge in. Um, Ton of missions. They're quite short, and that's quite good because if it's drawn out, a couple of them do feel a little bit drawn out, and that actually does affect the game a little bit. But most of the time, they're nice, short, quick levels where you're just blowing everything up. There's a lot of replayability in as much as a bit of grinding going on if you wish. Weapons level up the later levels you play and the harder difficulties, and the game gets really hard later on.
Great.
Um, your initial rifle will be boosted up over time, then you get some pretty awesome rocket launchers, grenade launchers, laser weapons for the flying character as well. So I mean, there's a lot to go on here.
What does this sound like?
It's I think it's indicative of the B movie style. It's cheap. Um, it's proper sort of cheesy lines that you hear other characters screaming about being eaten alive, or the ants are coming and the monsters are back, that sort of thing. Um, the aliens themselves have got a great little screech sound effect that never gets boring. It's sort of one of those. It's a classic monster sound that I think the guys that create these games have nailed it perfectly. Um,
Okay, and
I
so,
say it's a budget game for your Vita that you probably put hours and hours and hours into it without even realizing it,
and I
and you
imagine
turn
it's
it.
quite a budget title, isn't it? I mean, I don't know, I've not looked at price,
I've not seen the price.
but I'm thinking budget.
every other game has been that's been an EDF title. That's the point of them. They're
Yeah.
made for middle range price point that offers just loads and loads of gameplay. You can't go wrong with this game. If you see it anywhere and you've got a Vita sitting around, you fancy a bit of co-op play with some mates, grab it.
And
It's well worth
it's
it.
actually quite nice they're still making games for the Vita, even if it is EDF or whatever. I mean, it's nice.
It's a shame. I don't mind. It's great that they're making it. It's a shame that this is a remake, or a slightly updated version of a PlayStation 2 game, which is I wouldn't mind a new game to play, but otherwise, great.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just at a quick look. £21.86 it is on ShopTo, so there you go.
Not
So
bad.
not
That's
bad
worth
at all.
it.
Okay, we'll leave it there then. Thank
Good.
you for joining us.
Bye.
See you next time. Bye.